Motion in your step.
Motivation in your heart.
Hello, and welcome to today's Motion and Motivation podcast.
We've put together a study guide for everyone. If you need it, you can grab it from the video description. All right, ready to unlock some strategic secrets.
I'm in.
Today, we're going deep on the 48 laws of power, talking about influence, ambition, all that good stuff, decoding the playbook of power,
Absolutely. It's like a behind-the-scenes look at how power dynamics really work.
Exactly. And our first law throws us right into the deep end: never outshine the master. It's kind of counterintuitive, though, right?
Yeah, how so?
Well, we're always told to stand out, be the best, but this law is saying sometimes laying low is the smarter play.
It's about psychology, really. People in power, they can be insecure,
Oh, I know the type.
They see someone trying to outshine them. It's a threat. Like that time with Nicolas Fouquet, Louis XIV's finance minister.
Oh, yeah, the lavish party. Not his best move.
He thought he was honoring the king, but Louis XIV, the Sun King, saw it as upstaging him, pure and simple.
So instead of impressing him,
He basically handed him an excuse to take him down. Fouquet learned the hard way: never make the powerful feel overshadowed.
especially when they thrive on being the center of attention, right?
Exactly. And this isn't just about avoiding big displays. Remember Cesare Borgia and Astura Manfredi? Borgia felt threatened by Manfredi's, effortless charm, and had him eliminated.
Talk about insecurity. Makes you think twice about who you're dealing with.
It does. Law 1 isn't about dimming your own light. It's being strategic about it. Understand the people in power, their insecurities even, and you can navigate those relationships way better.
So we've covered not outshining the master, but what about using their power, to our advantage? That brings us to law number 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Little Machiavellian, don't you think?
Perhaps, but effective, and it's been around forever. Think about Michael III, Byzantine emperor, and his friend Basilius. Michael didn't choose the best person for the job. He picked Basilius, showered him with promotions, responsibilities.
So he was basically in control, but not really.
You got it. And this applies to more than just tasks. Think about historical knowledge, all the work that came before us.
Oh, I see. So we use what's already there to our advantage.
Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel? We build on existing foundations, right? That way we can achieve much more. Which leads us to a very important point: asking for help when you need it.
And that's where Law 13 comes in. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. Never to their mercy or gratitude. Figure out what makes people tick.
Exactly. Self-interest is way more motivating than altruism. Remember that art dealer, Joseph Duveen? He wanted Andrew Mellon as a client.
Didn't he appeal to Mellon's desire to collect art instead of, begging for his business?
Exactly. Duveen knew how to play to Mellon's interests, and that's how he got himself a powerful patron.
It's like that saying, you catch more flies with honey, but in this case, the honey is
A well-crafted appeal to their desires.
Exactly. So it's a win-win, or it can be. But we've talked about those above us, but how do we know who to approach with these strategies if it feels risky?
That's where Law 19 comes in. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person, because not everyone reacts the same way.
Right, like that story about Genghis Khan. One little insult from the Sultan and boom, entire empire's gone.
Exactly. Don't underestimate anyone's potential for, vengeance.
It's a good reminder to read people carefully, wouldn't you say?
You have to. You observe, you look for patterns, you understand their triggers.
So it's not just what we do, but who we target.
It's about choosing your battles. And when you do make a move, remember Law 28. Enter action with boldness.
Like Victor Lustig, right? Selling the Eiffel Tower, now that was bold.
Lustig was clever. He knew boldness can be incredibly disarming.
So it worked.
His confidence and his planning, it made people doubt their doubts.
Fake it till you make it, but on a grand scale.
You could say that. He embodied confidence, and it worked. That's the power of perception. Boldness creates this aura of authority, makes even the most audacious plan seem doable.
So we've talked about boldness, but what about capturing people's imaginations? That's got to be important.
It is, and that's Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Visual storytelling.
It's like Cleopatra's grand entrance into Rome, right? Talk about a spectacle.
Exactly. She understood that. She did something unforgettable.
It's about more than just the event itself.
All right, it's about the impression it leaves.
We've covered a lot. Not outshining those above us, using their power, appealing to self-interest, choosing our battles, being bold, even creating a spectacle. But what about the human element. How do you win people over? Not just, win.
That's where Law 43 comes in. Work on the hearts and minds of others. You can force people to comply, but real power, it's about persuasion.
Like T.E. Lawrence of Arabia, he didn't just lead the Arab rebellion, he connected with them.
He got it. He immersed himself in their world, their culture, their language. He understood that leadership wasn't about him, it was about them, their desires, their goals.
It's like instead of forcing someone to do something, you inspire them to want it. It's funny, we were just talking about T.E. Lawrence and winning hearts and minds, and it's like he was reading from the 48 Laws of Power, especially this next law.
Which one are we on to now?
Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Sounds intense, right?
Oh, it can be. It's all about that human tendency to, see ourselves in others.
Okay, so how does that work in the context of power, though? Give us the play-by-play.
So say someone's trying to manipulate you. Instead of fighting fire with fire, you mirror them right back.
Wait, so if someone's being super aggressive?
Get aggressive back, you reflect that right back at them, and it can really throw them off. It disrupts their whole game.
They can't handle seeing their own reflection.
Basically. Especially those who rely on intimidation, Suddenly they see themselves, and it's like, poof, power gone.
I can imagine. But you'd have to be very self-aware to pull that off, wouldn't you?
100%. You can't stoop to their level. You have to use it to expose them.
Okay, so we've got mirroring. But what about when you need to make a big first impression?
You're talking about Law 47, never appear too perfect. Tricky one.
Why is that? Isn't the goal to be perfect?
We strive for it, sure. But think about it. Perfection can breed envy,
Makes other people feel bad.
Exactly. When you seem too perfect, people get insecure, start picking at you, looking for flaws.
Even if there aren't any.
Exactly. Like that saying, the tallest tree catches the most wind.
So it's about finding a balance. Show your strengths, but don't be afraid to.
Be human. Show a little vulnerability.
People relate to that. Makes you more approachable.
Much more.
Okay, so we're nearing the end of our 48 Laws of Power deep dive, and wow, so much to unpack. We've gone from subtle tactics to big moves, and it's obvious that to really use these laws, you've got to understand people and yourself. Right.
Self-awareness is key. You can't play the game if you don't know the rules.
Exactly. But there's one more law we have to get to. Really stood out to me. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous.
Interesting one. We crave connection. It's in our nature. Even the most powerful people, they need it.
No man is an island. But how does that apply to, this whole power thing?
Because isolation, it's like building walls. You cut yourself off. Information, different points of view, potential allies, gone.
You're stuck in your own head.
And that can be a dangerous place, especially when it comes to power.
Makes you vulnerable.
You become paranoid, you make mistakes. Building a fortress, it seems safe, but
it can actually weaken your position.
You need those connections. Trusted allies, mentors. People will tell you the truth.
People you can rely on.
Exactly. It's about collaboration, not isolation.
It's amazing how these laws apply even today. We've been talking about, kings and emperors, but this stuff happens every day, right?
Oh, absolutely. At work, in our relationships, even just out and about.
It's like we got a peek behind the curtain, and now we can't unsee it.
And that's a good thing, because once you see these power dynamics, you realize it's not always about, who's got the loudest voice. It's about influence, about understanding how people work.
And that's what I like about the 48 Laws of Power. It's like, wake up, pay attention. This stuff is everywhere.
Exactly. And once you know the rules, you can decide how you want to play the game.
It's about knowing if it's being used on you, right?
Yeah.
And deciding how to use it yourself. Ethically, hopefully.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, but it's our choices that really matter in the end.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered a ton. Subtle tactics, bold moves, human nature, the 48 Laws of Power. It's a lot, but it makes you think.
It does.
So here's my final thought. How are you going to use this knowledge? How are you going to wield that power of understanding?
It's a question worth pondering.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Hopefully, you've come away with some new insights, a fresh perspective on how power really works. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep unlocking your own potential.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of our updates. Also, if you think this video could help others, please share it with them. Thanks for watching and for your support.